we got 4 minutes 45 for Wesley, 2 minutes 16 for Fabinao Caruana. Still 5 moves to make for both of them.
And we did, pardon me, Wesley did like your approach to the position, which was a nice, clear one too. Knight G2, Bishop F7, Queen B5. Still going after those dark squares.
D5, D4 played here, and yeah, you still feel like it's possible here to lose control. It's possible to to suddenly find yourself in a position which is not entirely
one-sided as you wanted it.
Yeah, but you also feel that you have to be winning.
He does have a cute line. He can play E6.
You play E6.
Yeah, you can and you should. Yeah,
Yeah, you can and you should. And I think this was the point of Queen B5. That you now can take on D4, and you don't have a good way to recapture this.
Because
why is C takes D4 so horrible?
I assume that I get
there's
something.
a check on the back. Oh, pardon me, back here. Immediately.
No, E6, Bishop E6.
So you include E6.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bishop Peter.
CD, CD, and something I assume wins, but I'm not entirely sure what. Yeah, check. I go somewhere.
Well,
let's say F7. I don't know.
F7.
Like Knight F4. No, this looks terrible.
Yeah, this looks horrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look really, really bad.
And sorry, once again the times and then the
it's
move
3
number?
minutes 10 seconds for Wesley, 2 minutes 16 for Fabinao.
And move number is
35. So about to make 36.
35. Pardon me. So right here, this is our moment. D4 on the board, and is E6 necessary? Is it the
White is
move?
better if you don't do it, but it's better not winning. E6 probably is just winning on the spot, where everything else allows Fabi somewhat back into the game.
Really?
Difference being that if you include CD, CD here, Queen C1 check starts being a threat, so you have to dedicate some. Yeah, but he's playing E6. Yeah, it's Wesley. Wesley doesn't miss many short tactics.
I was even looking at the move Queen E2 prior to E6, by the way. Queen E2, gift me the pawn on G4. But, as you say, E6, Bishop takes E6 on the board, CD, and Wesley saying,
if you want to
give me the opportunity for Queen G5. Sorry,
yeah,
Peter.
if you want to generate some kind of hope for yourself, maybe you play Queen B6 here and at least drive the queen away from good squares before recapturing on D4. But then you will have to recapture with the rook. After Queen E2, C takes D4, Queen takes E4 looks absolutely, absolutely horrendous. So you take with the rook. And then your structure is so broken up that I can play. I mean, no, one thing we don't do, I think, is we don't take on D4 here. We go, I mean, D3 probably is winning, but maybe even keeping the rooks on is quite good. Let's say we play Rook C2. Rook C2 followed by Knight E3, and then this entire structure is like it just starts falling apart.
So safe.
The king on G1 will never be challenged in any way, shape, or form. Yeah,
True.
So, nice game by Wesley, but a really, really mystifying decision by Fabi to not take on B2 earlier, I think.
I think you
Was
put
a turning
your finger on the pulse as well, Peter. The decision to capture that awkward bishop on E3.
That was also
that knight.
Yeah, that was also I thought
F5.
kind of a
that was
kind of a
helpful.
strange choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Wesley certainly looking as a
Fabi down to a
man
minute.
happy.
It's move 36, so with the 30-second increment, this is not as bad as it looks. But the problem is really that the position is horrible, not that he is down on the clock.
Exactly. But he has to play Queen B6, right? Is there another move?
Yeah, like if you play C takes D4, I assume you just get mated.
Yeah.
This is a position we stopped. We just stopped after Knight F4. We just
It's
didn't-
painful to look at. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. And Alejandro, we had actually had this conversation about Fabi kind of misfiring for quite some time. I mean, at one time, clearly the world #2 by quite a margin, slipping, and just barely in the top 10.
Yeah, he's had a rough few months. I mean, starting with the second half of the candidates.
Right.
That things have gone downhill for Fabiano Caruana significantly. It's very rare to see Fabiano lose more than one game per tournament. In the Olympiad, he actually lost a bunch. He dropped a lot of rating, and he hasn't been able to really come back. I mean, he had an okay Rapid and Blitz, finished third at the end, but his Classical is where it's mostly suffering. Actually, his Rapid and Blitz ratings are still up there. But Classical, he seems to be not on shape. I mean, I'll be honest, Fabi's the type of player that finds this Queen D7 against Lanier no problem.
Exactly. That's he was great calculator.
Great calculator.
Right.
Not so much yesterday, right? And here again, he just misfires, doesn't calculate rook takes b2 properly, ends up in a terrible position. I don't know. Things are going wrong for Fabiano Caruana. I know that he is just trying new things, but something needs to stick.
Exactly. Rook takes d4, as you prescribed, Peter, on our screen. Yeah, b2, b3, you mentioned is one very good move. You don't take on d4, you said.
I really hate giving black
any
a passer of any kind. Yeah, like,
but
probably still winning.
Here,
yeah,
no,
right?
right?
I would assume it's still winning, but why would you give black hope here?
Well,
whatever slim hope there may be, I just wouldn't be doing that. Okay, Wesley disagrees, but
he still wants to be a member of the Pawn Grubbers Association, does Wesley. So rook takes d4, c takes d4, gift me the pawn, queen takes e4. Yes, you can take on a2, but I will take on g4, I'm assuming, as Wesley is. And also the knight, by the way. The knight is so wonderful in these positions.
And perhaps now with the position really settling, we can bring back the actual breaking news again in the Carlsen-Niemann game.
Yes, what is the breaking news?
Magnus had very, very serious drawing chances, and this is past move 40 as well. And now he is back to being what I assume is just completely lost.
As in completely lost?
Well, specifically after a precise move here, which I think is findable. I think you win pretty much every single time, because everything will start collapsing. I don't see how the structure doesn't just fall apart. The g4, like once the knight lands on e3, I think the g4 pawn just kind of is indefensible with the pieces where they are.
You mentioned the word structure, Peter, and this is like every single pawn island you can make, you know, I mean.
Yeah. Calling this a structure is perhaps being
G4, E4,
overly flattering.
Right. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm assuming the current position is also winning, but if we put it on the board, I think bishop takes a2 is a very good choice. Just g4 was always weak. Just trade it for a healthy pawn on a2.
Yeah, get rid of it.
We bring the bishop back to f7, meaning that, let's say, we play
needed.
knight f4 here, we play bishop f7 as a matter of course, and then it's going to be very difficult for us to get mated. He played queen f3. I'm still playing bishop f7. I'm
Exactly,
pretty sure,
exactly.
And then you can...
The game flares anew.
Yeah, flares anew maybe is an overstatement.
Okay.
The knight on f4 is still going to be very strong. The king is still completely devoid of any defenders. I think queen f3 check was played with the intention of playing queen a3 check. That's my idea. I think Wesley doesn't want to even entertain the idea of giving up the b2 pawn. And then we go knight f4 next move, and we continue improving with white.
Maybe, I don't know where my king belongs, but
I'm
maybe
not
I'll take the walk, walk the walk over to the queen side, pardon me, and just
still bad.
Still bad.
Still bad,
Maybe
but I think the other one was even worse.
Yeah,
even
more
worse.
certain.
But I understand these are questions of taste more than maybe anything else.
Exactly. Weigh in on that one, Alejandro. Are you with Peter? I'm a pawn grabber. I would probably certainly have done what Wesley did, but he's making a really good argument for rook c2.
No, rook c2 was much better than rook takes d4 according to the engines. So that's what I can tell you.
Okay.
I like this position if you had no other options, but the other one was just so safe. And in this one, the problem is that you always have a draw in the back, but super safe from checkmates. From checks, not safe, but from checkmates, you're never going to get there. So how do you eventually defend from this pawn rolling forward? Because I'll sacrifice this d pawn for my b pawn somehow. I don't think that's so difficult to do. And then this pawn is going to start rolling, and unless I capture it, it's going to be very annoying. You don't want to have a knight all the way on that side of the board defending against the passed pawn. And more importantly, in so many situations in which you trade pieces, they might start becoming okay for black, especially the queens, right? Once they take off d4 and b2 off the board.
The irony going on here is yesterday we were having this conversation at dinner as what were the biggest myths that we were told and we had to unlearn them. And one of them was that the queen and knight was stronger than the queen and bishop.
Heresy.
Were you told? Heresy.
I'm not listening to this.
I'm not listening.
I'm not
But
listening.
the queen and knight shows up against the queen and bishop
Yes.
in this one. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, it's really, really, really bad that Magnus's position. Bishop f7 check. Sorry, king f5.
And since I did have to listen to this, I will defend the play a move and give a check. You know,
Right.
It's a bit more sophisticated than that. I think we can safely assume.
Right.
But until I see what his follow-up is, I'm not entirely sure why this is an improvement.
What's the ideal setup? Would the ideal setup be the queen should belong on d2, the knight should
I
belong
liked it on a3.
You did?
I thought a3 was a good square, and another one of those situations where you don't think of it until you see it on your screen, and then you realize why it's good. The engine actually was suggesting, at least at some point I saw over on Alejandro's screen, because you automatically put the knight on f4 here, right?
Exactly. I don't.
But
even
in
think
fact,
about
on
it.
f4, it is sort of, I mean, saying that the bishop on f7 controls the knight on f4, I think it's rather the other way around, right?
Right.
But the bishop on f7 does cover a lot of the squares the knight can jump to.
For sure.
So it's not obvious, like it's a very nice square, it's solid, it stops the d pawn from progressing, but it doesn't really do very much on f4. So the engine was actually going knight h4.
Knight h4.
Which I think is, like, it's extremely possible to never consider it for 1 second.
Not on my radar.
But then, like,
whatsoever.
if black allows either knight f5 or knight f3, it's possible to imagine situations where you actually fail to protect the d pawn.
And
Like
there is-
threats actually begin to amass. Let's say, like,
Wow.
knight f5 actually is a very, very large threat. And if you play bishop e6, for instance, I will play knight f3. And then I'm threatening queen a4 check, queen takes d4, and then the game will be over.
We may be seeing this because
Okay, so
queen
he
a4 check.
repeated. Okay.
Yeah, queen
I was
a4.
wondering if he just meant to repeat, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, after check, he played queen a4, and then he went queen a3, and he said, look, I would like to check you on the f8 square, and no way, Jose, king e8, and we might see knight h4. And like you say, that wouldn't have been on my radar, and just simply allowing the bishop to d5.
But then after knight f5, suddenly, you know, the fabled queen and knight actually does start shining, because queen e7, like a very, very straightforward idea of queen
Mate.
e7 mate, is difficult. Like queen e6, knight g7.
Right.
Hello, hello. Queen
Yeah.
f6, queen a4 check.
Nice to meet you there as
Hello,
well.
hello, yeah. I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky.
All right. Knight h4, Alejandro. Rather a paradoxical move, but
It's the
it
best
works.
Move. It's the best move, especially now that the king is back on e8. So knight h4 is the engine recommendation. Knight f5 is strong. The engine is thinking you should play queen c7 or bishop d5 in either one of the move orders. Knight h4 actually already played by Wesley. Good recognition there by him. Bishop d5, for example, knight f5. The knight is great here. Queen c7 does threaten a little bit of counterplay, but it's all under control. If you play g4. And then we start running. So this is going to be still a very interesting game, guys, because queen c1 apparently is no good. It's just Fabiano keeping up the chances, and this is what we talk about a lot. Keep up your chances, start making threats, and yes, the engines still think that he's lost, but it's not so clear yet.
All right.
And Magnus has found a way to give up all of his material somehow.
Okay, because this counterintuitive move, well spotted by Wesley, knight h4, heading for the f5 square, and there was two tries for Fabi. One was queen c7, one was bishop e6.
No, I think it's bishop d5, queen. In terms of creating problems, I think bishop
Yes.
d5, queen c7 might be trickier, because if you have to find g3, g4, and trust that those checks do nothing, because what black actually picks up the pawn on f2 with check. Bishop d5,
Reminding me of the line again.
bishop d5, knight f5, and now queen
Threatening
c7.
checkmate.
Queen c7, protecting against the checkmate and creating a threat of checkmate of your own with queen c1, queen h1.
Yeah.
And apparently g3, g4 here is winning. But
just inviting
among other
checks.
things, it loses the f2 pawn with check. Because we can
But-
play queen g2, queen f2, but after king f4, king e5, I assume the bishop just gets picked up.
Yeah, you can't
Because
defend
we're
against
back to
queen
threatening
e7.
queen e7 mate. Yeah,
Yes,
and,
we are. And the king just went
Yeah.
for a nice walk.
This is not a difficult variation to calculate once you realize g3, g4 exists.
Right.
But it's very possible because you're not getting here, you're not getting teleported towards this position, right? You have to calculate it from somewhat far in advance. And then you might like stop at queen c7 and think this is awkward because, you know, queen
Wait a
c1 is
minute,
a
what am I
threat, perhaps
doing?
queen h7 is a threat as well.
Right.
If you make some kind of an indifferent move.
Queen
so why,
a1, for
why am I
example.
subjecting myself to this?
Right.
Like queen a1, queen h7, and like
what the heck?
who knows what this is? Yeah.
But why am I doing this?
Exactly. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
why am I suddenly?
But if you, as you say, if you do spot g3, g4, then you're golden again. By the way, bishop d5 on the board.
Bishop
and once-
d5 played. Yeah, Fabi is very, very good at maximizing drawing chances and
once
just generally defending in as tenacious a way as possible.
What makes Wesley such a good player? I mean, he's won the Grand Chess Tour. He's won the Sinquefeld Cup. What makes him such a great player, Peter?
I think very, very low number of outright mistakes.
Yes.
I think he has become. I think if you remember the glory days of like the mid tens, yeah, when he was winning super tournaments for fun.
Yeah.
I think he's become a lot more pragmatic, and there you see his opponent there on the screen, very obviously a legend in his own right, but currently not really enjoying life as
Right.
much as he may have. Earlier.
Although earlier in the summer, that American Cup, that was
Yeah.
a great event. By
That
the
was
way.
that was a very, very
Had
good
to-
result by him, but
He was 1 second away from losing a match against Jeffrey Zhang, by the way, but we won't. But that's his gladiatorial opponent. And Alejandro, weigh in, because Wesley, of course, went to Webster University here in St. Louis. We've watched, we've seen Wesley improve steadily as a player, and he's always seems to be in the mix.
Well, he's difficult to take out, right? He's just so solid, and his style in particular keeps him in that mix. He's not a streaky player. He's not a player like, for example, when you think of a Topalov in the past, or even like Richard Rapport. He doesn't lose one game and then go on a big losing streak.
Right.
He loses a game very once in a while, and he just comes back, makes some draws, and he is very good at punishing mistakes. He doesn't like taking big risks. He is a player that generally has a very solid opening repertoire. He is totally okay with playing one Berlin endgame after another, even if it's the only thing that will show up on the chessboard for the rest of his life, as long as he can defend them with black. So he's very practical in that sense. He's very methodical. He doesn't really want to get into fights that he doesn't see the need for. And that's one thing that's actually kept him at the top.
It is consistency for me, guys. Totally remarkable. You're right about the mistakes. He just and he punishes.
Absolutely. I
mistakes of
still
his
feel
opponent.
that sort of the earlier model that was, I think, when he was, at least it felt like I don't really want to, it sounds like I'm speaking in a somewhat disparaging fashion about one of the absolute strongest players in the world. I'm not, but I feel that he was, these days he just plays solidly and collects points when people perhaps overpress against him or just play, make mistakes against him. And he is very, very satisfied with playing correctly and perhaps not winning as many games as his direct competitors do, as long as he is, controlling the action and feels that everything is in check. But he used to play actively for a win much more, I think. Let's say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, than he does now. But among the very, very top players, his level of consistency is, you can't really say unrivaled when we have Magnus, but sort of there or thereabouts. I
Exactly.
would suggest. Yeah.
Exactly. Also, I just want to say that, like all of the top players, his repertoire, his opening repertoire,
Oh, yeah.
is very, very, very good. Super solid, and he knows his systems inside and out. Going back to Magnus Carlsen, I mean, how can we not but watch this, games out of the 5 played, Peter?
Yeah, today could be a reasonably decisive. I mean, already we have 2, and in a tournament as solid as this one, 2 out of 5 is pretty decent. But yeah, Wesley should be favored to win this from here.
With this
You can even
active
take on d4, but then I guess the point is queen c1, queen d2 check, and then bishop c4, and you get pinned, and you maybe.
Sorry, I'm seeing queen g3 check.
Queen g3 check is maybe a bit stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. So then
I mean,
I
it's
stopped
is
that.
actually not mate, right?
No,
I
but
still,
a
I still
draw-
have king f1.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I have king f1. I'm not sure actually. Maybe
What?
my line was better. Bishop c4, knight e2.
Oh my God.
Maybe my line was better. I completely blundered this, but I'm.
What was your
queen
line?
e5 in the end. No, your line is better. Your line is better.
And that is
Queen g3, and then if I do what I did, I should take a draw with king h1. But here, bishop c4, knight e2, and a very, very beautiful position, queen e5.
And you can't.
I can't defend the knight.
Wow, wow.
I can't defend
And
the knight.
let's take a look at our current standings after a very, very eventful round 3 with 1 game still remaining. Peter.
Yeah, 2 draws up top there, a quiet one on between Shah and MBL, and a very dramatic, in a way, game between Linear Dominguez and Yanni
Truly.
Ponci, which could also have been a decisive game today.
There was
Alireza
drama there.
won a very, very beautiful game against Ivan Aronian, and we have just seen Magnus Carlsen resign with the white pieces against the American youngster Hans Niemann. The first win for the black pieces in this tournament, by the way.
Exactly.
White was on
First
cruise
win with the
control
black
until
pieces.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my goodness. What a time. What a time. I'm still a little bit of a kind of a shock here.
Yeah, yeah. I
Jump right in, Alejandro. Your
can
thoughts,
see why.
please. I mean, this is like.
It's history in the making, right? When you see a junior player come up and beat the world champion with the black pieces,
Right.
that one gets ingrained in your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this does not happen often. Magnus losing with white against somebody that's not 2,700, guys, it happens very, very rarely. And it's not that he blundered a piece and, you know, once in a while that happens. He just got outplayed today.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. This is the thing. Yeah, he just consistently plays that game worse than his opponent. I think it's
Right.
it's the.
Oh, pardon me. I apologize.
I missed knight h6. Yeah, it's quite simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was queen f6, and then I didn't see.
No, king has to go to g7 so you don't get shot.
Yeah, you have to put it on g7, otherwise knight e5 check will win. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So king 7 f5, and if you play g1 check, queen f6,
It's mate.
and I just didn't see king g8, knight h6, queen g6, knight f7. For some, yeah, it's been a long day. This is not as difficult as all that.
True. Nope. It has been a long day, but a historic day too, as Hans Niemann puts his signature on these first 3 rounds. And dare I say it, I mean, he could easily have won that game against Levon. Levon came on, interviewed with you, Alejandro, and said, I had a tough day against Hans Niemann. He was very happy he saved that game.
He will be even happier now.
He'll be even happier
He'll
now.
be even happier now.
No Bobby Fischer records for these junior players. Bishop
He played bishop
G2.
g2. Yeah, he played bishop g2, setting up a kind of a nice trap. Well, not a very difficult one. If the king moves forward, you can start trading queens on e7 because of how far advanced the passer is. But of course, nobody goes king h4. He played king g3 already.
Indeed, he did.
Yeah. So king g3, and now after queen f3 check, you can play king h4.
Upwards.
I'm pretty sure Fabi wants to play queen d5.
He's done it.
Yeah, that's his intention here. They reached move 60, so they get new score sheets.
But not more time.
Yeah, but this looks like queen c8 followed by knight f5 is
Which is a dream come
yeah,
true. We
mate,
get to bring
mate
a-
or thereabouts.
yeah, we get to
it-
bring our knight back into the game with check, which was
Yeah,
what we
it's,
were
it's just
missing.
mate.
just completely winning. Yeah, just you actually win the queen. It's not
He
really,
played
it's not
something else.
even
I think he played
difficult.
queen f2.
Yeah, king g7, knight f5, king f7.
Sorry, from this position,
Yeah.
queen f2. I've been.
Yeah.
Ah, he's playing king f2. Okay.
No, queen f2.
Queen
sorry.
f2. Yeah, but then we go forward and interpose. Yeah, g5 and knight f5, for instance.
Yeah.
d5, he'll have to play queen c5 check, we go knight f5. Yeah, this never ever holds.
What a beautiful construction. Everything's in harmony suddenly.
This never ever holds. You like.
Once again, for Wesley So and the whole GCT tour, very, very important victory if it comes to that. And it will be our third win out of the 5 that we had. You mentioned the drama with Lanier. Could have been maybe a very, very bloody day. And, I don't know about yourself, but your reaction to the interview, great entertainment.
Absolutely, yeah. He is fantastic to listen to. He makes a ton of sense. You know, behind a lot of the opinions appear to be very well thought out, and I agree with much of it. On the subject of young players needing opportunities. Yeah, and
that resonated loudly.
Absolutely, and I think we're watching. It would be extremely silly to deny that the current generation is here, and they just need not even time necessarily. They just need opportunities to play against the top players to just illustrate just how good they have gotten over the past couple of years, when a lot of people were not as visible due to the nature of the chess world over during the pandemic. But yeah, a lot of it makes a ton of sense, and also the delivery is. The delivery is to die for, you have to say.
It's special. On that note of opportunity, it really, that 128-player knockout, that's like, along with an Olympiad, an opportunity for the juniors to really make their mark. And I have to say, I think he's right. There's just, for these junior players, they just need more of these opportunities.
Yes, absolutely, and it's very good that, as he's saying, the fact that the club and the Grand Chess Tour in general provides these wildcards for promising players.
Exactly.
Does afford us this luxury of watching someone like Hans play against the best of the world and demonstrate just how good he's gotten. This is a very beautiful mate, by the way. Bishop play bishop d5, and now knight d6. After king f7, you go knight d6. And if the king runs towards the center, it gets very geometrically mated by f5, and then queen f6.
Queen f6.
Yeah, that would actually make the win somewhat tricky. Yeah, but queen f6 is pretty good.
That's a nice one. No running for you. No running away for you.
A very nice construction here, and not one you see
every day.
Very often. Yeah.
And we run the other way.
After king g7, something has to win, like queen e7 check,
exactly.
King g8. I think king h6 is what I like here, right?
The prosaic.
This is what you like to do, yeah. Just a little tribute to Nigel.
As of course you're referring to the Nigel Short versus Jan.
Knight e6 hasn't been played yet, by the way. He's played queen d7 check, but he'll repeat it and he'll find it. I mean, it's a. Even on 2 minutes, he is the consummate professional there, Wesley, repeating a couple of times to get a minute on the clock.
Jump in, Alejandro. Your thoughts of the interview you just conducted?
I mean, I was there, guys.
I know.
I mean, he's a candid person. He's a candid character, and he just likes to speak his mind. And in this case, it's clear. I think a lot of people have been talking about it for months. Like, who are these juniors and why are they kicking so much butt? Right. When we saw the Olympiad, well, that was an opportunity, as you mentioned, Yasser.
Yeah.
And they stepped up.
They certainly did. That India Team B was thrilling, actually, to watch them in
It was unbelievable
action.
to watch, yeah.
When they were playing against all of these veteran teams, whether it be Armenia, whether it be the United States, yeah, they fought really, really hard. I'm seeing some signing.
What happened?
Is Fabi claiming there's no threefold? No. What's happening here?
But I didn't see a knight d6.
I didn't see a knight d6. Is he claiming a threefold? This is...
No, this is only a second time. I mean, no. This is not a threefold. No. The king has only just arrived on g5, and it's only a second time.
Well, yeah, that's not a threefold. 1, 2, nope. That's not how it works.
Even queen d7, king f8 is not a threefold yet.
No. But because the arbiters are gonna...
Actually, no. Queen d7, king f8 would be a draw, actually. Yeah, but Wesley will, yeah, Wesley knows that. Wesley will not play queen d7.
And I think Chris Bird is doing what you're supposed to be doing on an incorrect claim. You add 2 minutes to your to the opponent's time.
I see. So is also Fabi short of time? So
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
mean,
know.
it's,
He just thought, let me make the claim and see if it's legit.
I think people are just jaded by our 6 and they get
Tired.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, we're tired. We're not even playing.
And we do the game flares anew, and yeah, he's reaching for his knife.
Yeah, before anything happens.
Let me not make a 3-move repetition. Yeah. And there we have it. That is, in fact, the winning move, as you explained
King
it,
g7
Peter,
played.
so very well.
Okay, hang on. Queen e7. This is very funny. Yeah? Queen e7 check, bishop f7 check, knight f5 check.
That's a commercial.
That's a sequence that
you don't see very often.
Is very, very comical, but yeah.
Yeah. So again, this is Queen e7 check. I remember these Pepsi commercials where it was 7-Up, the un-Pepsi. I check, check, checkmate. It was the sequence that they used in the commercial. Check, check,
and then knight f5, and then
check,
and then we shake hands. Queen f6 instead of queen e7 is also winning, but it's all a matter of taste once you play king g7.
Queen f6 also winning.
Catches me.
One thing you shouldn't do though
Please.
is repeat knight f5 here, because that would step back into the same. It feels like this is a second repetition only, but it will tie in with the previous repetition, and then the claim suddenly will become correct. So repeating with knight f5 here is not
Wrong.
advised.
Not
advised. Yeah.
You know, I think I would probably choose Queen f6 and Knight f5 personally. But
yeah, I mean, there's a lot here which is very, very winning. Yeah, that is also very, very clearly end of game.
Right. Wow. I'll say it again and again. Hans Niemann leads the event with 2.5 out of 3.
Pursued by a bear, and in the role of the bear.
And who predicted this outstanding, extraordinary effort? Certainly not Yugalot.
No, I mean, honestly, when we thought about Hans Niemann coming into this tournament, there was a possibility he gets squashed. I mean, his first super tournament. There was a possibility he did well, but I don't think anybody saw him play these 3 monsters.
No.
This was not on any bingo card, apart from maybe his.
Right?
Maybe it was on his bingo.
Incredibly eventful round 3, guys.
Yeah. Queen e7 chosen, and by the way, there's a very sadistic way to win right now after Queen e7 king j. You can still go knight f5.
Still go knight f5.
And just collect everything. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's a bit cruel. Yeah. I mean,
knight f5.
King h6, put him out of his misery.
Threatening mate.
And then I win everything with checks. Yeah. King h6, of course, is what you play here.
Now, the only move to avoid mate, I think, is queen takes d6, so he'll just resign.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Very exciting round. And this is the conclusion.
There is the
Wesley goes to +1, Fabi goes to -1. Wesley's in clear second. I'm slightly,
stunned by that.
No, I wanted to say that I'm slightly ahead of the graphics, and we always like to pair this with the graphics. But,
right.
As a kind of a